topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to Mindset Marketing Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry. With your host, Marie Mason.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason. My lovely and talented co-host, Plinny Phoenix, is having a little bit of technical difficulties. I called those internet gremlins. So anyway, if she can, she will join us throughout the show. However, I think I'm going to have to just run with it for today. We have a great lineup for you, and we're bringing back our Who Wants to Be a Marketing Masterminds. It's a wonderful little game show Cheryl and I, Bernstein and I actually came up with for our 50th episode. So we thought we'd bring it back because we're at episode number 75. It's exciting. We're just getting closer and closer to 100. So that's really, really fun. So really want to sit there and let you know, just to let you know a little bit about the game show, just because I want to preface everything. My goodness, I cannot believe we're at 75 episodes, so that's amazing. So thank you guys for sticking with us for 75 shows. If you've been with us, following us all along, and for those who are just joining us, we are on YouTube, Speaker, Spotify, and all those platforms, including Audible, and I also saw us on Amazon. So please do check us out and let us know your thoughts, because we do try to check it periodically. Okay, so really quick what the rules are for the game show. We'll be asking a couple multiple choice questions throughout the show, and you can go to literally our YouTube channel and just look up Marketing Mindset Mastery, and you can't miss me. I have a red hair and this very shirt on. Timing. That was uncanny timing. But anyway, I have the same red shirt on and have a beautiful purple background, unlike my other colors curtains today. But anyway, long story short, you have a beautiful background. You cannot miss me on YouTube. If you just Google search Marketing Mindset Mastery, I pop up all over, and then just hit the YouTube channel and go for that. So you can literally find us on all those platforms. So all the answers are in those shows. In fact, the ones that I'm taking on, most of them are either on Speaker or on YouTube. So, and Speaker is SPREAKKER. Oh my gosh. Try saying that 20 times and not get tongue-tied. Okay, so there's my humor for today. So long story short, really quick, we're going to be sharing those multiple choice questions. I'm not going to give much of a hint this time. There's not going to be a whole lot of time because we're going to be drinking from a fire hose today with all this great information from Kristine Grant, who's our guest today. And oh my gosh, I'll share more about her in a few minutes. But if you win one of the questions, you can be either live or in person. It doesn't matter, though I prefer that you be live because we'd love to get questions fed to our lovely guest as well. So she would be happy to answer any of your questions you have about, answering questions on relationships. So that's all good. So it's my gift to the audience that this time is a free 30-minute webinar or marketing strategy call with you. And you're welcome to sit there and go to calendly.com/Marie V. Mason. And also Plinny Phoenix has a 30-minute webinar. Plinny Phoenix, has a voice assessment and discovery call for her. And I will share hers on the second half of the show. So please make sure that if you win, just go ahead and go to that Calendly link or message me here at the show. So with that, we'll announce all the winners at the end of the show. If there are no winners, we will you can still check it out on the replay, and we'll pick the first two winners that get the correct answer. Okay. So without further ado, the first question is for this segment is, Do you recall when Plinny Phoenix first showed up on our show as a guest? Now, some of the answers are going to be very obviously wrong, okay? And did that on purpose. So, A, January 21st, 1776, B, February 14th, 1886, or C, August 6th, 2020? D, May 21st, 2021, or E, all of the above. You go and check out our shows and Plinny Phoenix and on all of our platforms, and you will find the answer there. Okay, so my goodness, make sure you do chat in the audience. These prizes are valued at least 500 each just getting on calls with us, okay? So that's a great, great prize. So please make sure you guessed right for the show. So it lets me know that you guys are paying attention to our shows. So that's a great way to do it. So without further ado, I wish my co-host was able to join us, but like I said, she said Plenty has a little bit of internet gremlins, so we're just going to roll with the show. So welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. I'm your host, Marie Mason, and our guest today is Kristine Grant. Oh my gosh, lovely person and has so many talents. And I'm so happy to share her with you on the show today. She is a relationship expert coach from California. And as a ghostwriter, she helps her clients find the words to communicate their thoughts effectively. Who does not need that person in their back pocket? I don't know. I have a editor and he does a decent job, but oh my gosh, if I could work with Kristine sometime in the future, that would be awesome. Her novel inspired is called Heart Letters. It's it's a process. I guess it's Heart Letters. Maybe she could explain it when she gets on here, but it's Heart Letters, and I think it's about a process, which is a methodology that helps clients move beyond their emotional. And I'm not sure if I'm emotional anguish. I guess it's not really clear to me, but through the lost of art of the letter. So really, how many people even get written letters anymore? Maybe at Christmas time, right? So today's topic is resolve business relationship conflicts. Boy, do we need that in this era, and that would be a endless kind of need as far as I'm concerned. So please, by the way, just to let you know, we stream live on 6 o'clock Thursdays in Eastern Time right here on W4CY.com. And so I just want to say, take it away, Kristine. Are you here?
Oh, hi, Marie. So wonderful to be back. And I love your red outfit. Looks really great.
Well, I like your pink one. So there you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
So welcome back. I'm so glad. And we're not going to get too much into your passion and all that because you really touched on it so nicely in the last show. So let's go ahead and dive into the show because I know we're drinking out of a fire hose on this episode, right? So, and oh my gosh, I'm excited because who doesn't have conflict at work? Even if it's like a slight little misunderstanding, could really blow up in someone's face if it's not handled properly. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree. And I also think this day and age, people are sort of on hyper awareness mode. The adrenaline is running. Their central nervous system is a little hyped up because you just don't know what shoe's going to drop next, right?
Literally.
So I think we're a little fragile.
Mm-hmm.
And that puts us or makes us more vulnerable to be what they call triggered.
Right.
And there is so much division on so many levels in so many realms that regarding your work practices and building your business and getting along with associates or affiliates or partners or bosses even or your clients and customers. I think it's really important to be mindful of what you say, right? Mm-hmm. And how you say it.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because, and I know that's a little bit, I'm going to actually go slightly with more of an example, and not my own personal example, but I actually had a student. I have a business academy as well, and I help my students structure their businesses and help them see success. And thankfully, I could say everyone who's been with my program as long as 8 months or more have definitely been seeing success. One of my students, more than one, but this particular one came to my attention and asked this pertinent question. This one, I know her personality type. I know she is very proactive and very on point and does everything very meticulously. So for someone to sit there and accuse her for saying, "Well, you're not proactive," really hurt her feelings, which I could totally get that. So what I suggested, and I wanted your professional opinion on this particular way I handled it. Okay. I suggested that she removes the emotions. That's something that you and I actually talked about prior to all the show. So that was good timing. And I said, what you should say, here are the 4 areas you should suggest. I suggested her she share the examples of how you were proactive, share examples of what, and list all the dates and times of what you accomplished so far, and then let them know these are this information you're waiting on from them, that this is what information you need to proceed. And then when should I expect that information from you? Without accusing people, without putting the blame on anybody, just remove all that emotional garbage, literally, and literally focus on the facts. She got a 1 sentence answer that said, and she should have just said 1 word, received, because it was kind of a blunt kind of answer. But the point is, she got the earned the respect from people higher above them as well. So because she was very professional, and I don't know, could we have done something I don't want, as an example, could we have done anything different?
Okay, so I think honing the sensitivity around it is important.
Right.
For example, we can command respect, right? But
Mhm.
we can never demand it.
Right.
Right. So get really clear on that, because some people, they overcompensate for their own vulnerabilities, if you will, and they may come on a little bit strong. Usually when people are being, quote, aggressive, it's because they're afraid.
Ah.
Uh-huh.
Or they or they know that they make a mistake. That's another option, or is it just because they're
Well,
afraid?
it's fear-based either way.
Okay.
I'm afraid I made a mistake, or I'm afraid I'm not going to get this right, or afraid this person doesn't respect me. And I've said it before, the fear, worry, concern is fear, the opposite of love. So if you're running on fear, you've kind of got an empty tank. And our emotional well-being is so important for thriving in a business. I mean, you can make tons of money, but if your emotional wallet is drained, then where are you at? Because you're going to be not quite as focused. Your vitality level will diminish, and it may not be the real you showing up. So
Right.
they call that emotional baggage. And I like to help people unload the bags. I always, and I don't know if I told you this, because this is my little famous quote I came up with. We all have baggage.
Yep.
But truly, only one carry-on is allowed. The rest is just too costly.
That sounds like an airplane, Mano.
Uh-huh.
But I like it. That's
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. So
Yeah.
try to not put too much baggage in your life, I guess, is the motto there.
Right. The other thing is timing.
Yeah.
So when this friend of yours was, quote, or how she felt was accosted, she felt attacked. We'll make it simple. And then she went into stress mode, and she called you her dear friend and person she, trusts and relies upon. And you, said, let's calm it down, and gave her some, ABC. Now the timing of her response is one thing, because if the other person feels like, I'm going to get, I'm getting on her, I'm going to straighten her out, blah, blah, they may not be open to receive whatever message you have. And when you start a message, you see, for the audience that may not be aware, I ghostwrite people's inspired heart letters. So I help define the words you really want to say, but our emotional set point gets in the way. The ego gets in the way. Our defenses rise, and then we're feeling super stressed, and we don't want to deal with this ugly situation. I want it done. So it either comes out too strong, or it's like, okay, let's just not talk about it again, or what. No, getting very clear, going, as they say, to the mountaintop to gain a more broader perspective of the real situation and all of the elements that may be contributing. So it could be that this friend of yours was simply being scapegoated, and the other person was having a really bad day, or something happened. And so human nature, unfortunately, we tend to, shuffle it off onto somebody else. And it's the other person that, is the vacuum cleaner to somebody else's dust or dirt. Then they have to own that. And when I say own it, I believe that these issues, these conflicts that come up in our relationships, whether they're interpersonal or business related, if you see a pattern, that's something that needs to be cleared, because that situation, that encounter is mirroring back to you what you really need to evolve out of. So in a weird way, it is your gift wrapped in sandpaper. If you receive it the right way. True. If you get all defensive and I'm a go-getter and I really give it my 110% all the time, then that's all about caring so much. Now, it is true, we need in business our reputation and character, our expertise, our creativity, whatever, that you have to own that.
Right.
And I may have said it on the last show, confidence is the sexiest thing, right? So how are we confident is when we really have a great relationship with ourselves and we already fully know. So I would question your friend next time when you're out, having a cup of tea or whatever, is say, the fact that you got triggered, is there something about your own sense of certainty about who you are, what you deliver, and are you enough? Because when you said she works, she does, the backstory to her may very well be her conditioning about, you better work hard for everything you got. Nothing's ever free in this life, blah, blah. Or, maybe I should just do a little bit more. I know I could do a little. And how many of us in the audience can relate to that?
I'm not even in the audience. I'm not even in the audience, and I can relate to that. So, but yeah, you're spot on. No, thank you for that insight, because I wasn't sure. I do my best, and I tell my students I'm not like the end all be all. I mean, we give each other feedback and we learn from each other. I think I learned just as much from them as they probably learned from me. But what it is it's like you said, we just have to be able to get into the underlying matter at hand and dig deeper. So
yes. Yeah. Maria, I'm sorry to interrupt, but so I don't lose my thought. There's a great way of dealing with the sudden attack syndrome, where it's out of the blue, you weren't expecting it. And so if you look at it like an energy, okay, someone is, dumping on you, as I said, and rather than taking it on, and I write about this, I wrote a children's book for self-empowerment and conflict resolution. Awesome. But it's universal ideas and practices that I give. So you can apply it to your own, age range or whatever. One of the key ways of getting out from under that perceived conflict with somebody you're working with or what have you is if you're seeing them on a Zoom call or face to face, then you look them straight in the eye with no negative body language, no rolling of the eyes, no deep breaths of, none of that. Very calm, very centered. And guess what? You're thinking about something amazing, like you just won the lottery. Or you had your biggest sales ever and it's phenomenal. Or some famous personality wants you on their show, whatever it is. And what that's going to do is light you up. It's going to start to raise your own little energetic frequency. And while the other person is haranguing, you're thinking about this really cool thing and you're just sort of looking at them for not too long, I would say under 20 seconds. And then you simply say, you know what? I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. So you're not saying you're right or you're wrong.
Right.
Why don't we schedule a time where we can really talk about it?
Well,
and I'll tell you, when I wrote my anti-bullying book for kids because my daughter was terribly bullied by mean girls and such in middle school. And when I shared that with her, she said, "Oh, Mom, that's so corny." And I said, "Whatever." So she got invited to I had to switch schools and put her in a new school. That's how bad it was. And so she was invited to the slumber party and a 13-year-old dance at someone's big fancy home. And she was so excited because she had new friends. Anyway, long story short, she says, "Mom, I don't think I want to go to the party because some of the mean girls are going to be there." This is when I gave her this pearl of wisdom. And she said, "That's so corny." And I told her, I said, "Just pretend you're getting ready to go get in a limousine and go see the Black Eyed Peas concert. And they're stopping at Nordstrom's on the way to get you a new outfit." So anyway, she decided to go to this party. She was confronted because that's the other thing. If you see somebody's personality style and their pattern, be prepared. This person tends to go off the deep end, or this person isn't the best communicator, or this person shuts down. And so you're not scratching your head all the time, right? So anyway, so I'm using this story as an analogy for our guests, the audience today. So she, sure enough, was confronted by at least one mean girl. And, with either insulting or whatever. And she stood there and she did the exact exercise. And she called me the next day and she said, "Mom, I'm in a limousine." I said, "What? You are such a manifester." And she said, "Mom, I did what you suggested. And guess what? It worked." Awesome. These long-term bully girlfriends or friends, or now they're friends, actually asked me to be on their Facebook. And that's an honor for any parent, okay? So we are the ones that make it so complicated. Everybody universally wants to feel loved, connected, respected, and nobody ever turns down appreciation, even if they blush or they act shy. Deep down, everyone loves to feel appreciated. So counteracting, like the advice you gave her was fine, but then warm the person up. I've always enjoyed how you blah, blah, or I respect the way you ... I appreciate that you took the initiative and reached out to me. I'd like to clear this.
That's a good point.
See?
Mm-hmm. We actually had to go to a commercial break, believe it or not. Can you believe how fast the first half of it has gone by? I mean,
Not at all.
My gosh. So you blink and it goes by so fast. So anyway, I want to thank Kristine Grant for sharing so many valuable tips to help our audience grow themselves and their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show. Her topic is on resolving business relationship conflicts, which is ultra important, and it can apply in all relationships, really. So Kristine has some great information to share on the second half of the show, and actually has agreed to stick around for that part. So you're welcome to ask her questions, and it will be funneled to her through the station. So please go to either YouTube or Facebook, and we will be happy to share those questions with her. live on the air. And also, if you do have any after on the replay, we can also share that as well. This is a segment of our show, and you're listening to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and my lovely, talented co-host, Plinny Phoenix, will be back next week. We'll be right back, and we're going to a commercial break now.
We're taking a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Marketing Mindset Mastery, the show that brings you the top speakers in the marketing and video industry, with your host, Marie Mason. The show is brought to you by Liberty Virtual Solutions. We work with business coaches and speakers to help them market and host their webinars and upsell their coaching programs and develop heart-centered relationships with their audience. Welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Show with your host, Marie Mason, a premier podcast that helps you master your marketing skills.
Oh, I just love that beat. Every week, Plinny and I are like doing this little dance routine because it's just. Anyway, hopefully my headset will behave. I never quite know. Can you hear me okay, Kristine?
I can hear you perfectly.
Good. I never know with that. It's a gremlin itself. So anyway, there's a sound gremlins, internet gremlins. Oh my gosh, whatever's wrong, there's a gremlin attached to it. I'm just going to say that up front. So anyway, welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host, Marie Mason, and my lovely, talented co-host, Plinny Phoenix, will be back next week. Our guest today is Kristine Grant. She's a relationship expert coach from California, and as a ghostwriter, she helps her clients find the words to communicate their thoughts effectively, which everyone needs that this day and age. So her novel is Inspired Heart Letters. Is that right? Inspired Heart Letters?
That's the site.
Okay.
My site is inspiredheartletters.com.
Okay.
And the letters that I ghostwrite, I also coin them Inspired Heart Letters. So Inspired Heart, what's all that mean?
Right.
Some of us communicate through the cognitive, everything's mental, everything's organized, and some of us are overly emotional. Some of us are super sensitive and we go right into emotions. What I do is I like to refer to it as going to the higher heart. So it's invoking both the practical intellect and the emotional content, because we are humans. We're not robots yet. So
I hope we never get to that point. That's like a sci-fi thing waiting to happen.
Right.
So yeah, we're emotional creatures by nature. So and so sometimes we just have to learn to discern when's the good time to curve all that a little bit. Is that a great way of putting that, or?
Well, it is. It's just being aware.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to someone this morning, and I said, well, with all of the panic and distress on the planet, and people are, as I mentioned earlier, a little preoccupied with what's next and all of that. The gift in that is our awareness through the rather, unpleasant or even, alarming things that are going on in the world. I find myself more engaged in what is going on in the world than I ever was. Before we were like, okay, next, and we had our little routine, our little, often predictable life. And now we're a little on edge, but you can actually transform that sense of worry and stress by, again, growing your confidence that you're okay, all will be well, because we are much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. I have been through some pretty scary times in my life where my life could have easily been taken. Mm. And I'm writing my next book on that. But I, for some reason, never held resentment or anger for the bad guys, the perpetrators. And that was my saving grace. You see, when we carry around grudges and, whatever, it bounces back on us. We own that. The other person we're upset with, they're on their merry or not so merry way, but we're suffering. So why do that to yourself? Doesn't make sense.
What I've learned to do is after I've had an upset with somebody, I've had to learn to do this personally. Sometimes I've had to learn to forgive the other person, even if that person isn't ready to forgive me. So
I love that you do that.
And here's why. At the end of the day, I want to sleep better at night knowing, okay, I came to terms with my piece, even if they're not ready to.
Right. At the risk of sounding too woo-woo, I'm just going to say this. Every soul, I believe, has their own journey and has their own reason even for living out their life and what they're to accomplish and what they're to explore and what they're to learn. You're only responsible for your own ride, no one else's. So yes, if you have a disagreement, whether it be over health concerns or politics or the job, and somebody really, you don't understand, how could they possibly feel this way or that way? I can't believe it. That's all kind of a downer stuff, right? I mean, and it's better to, as you say, bless them out and forgive and wish them well, because everybody is on their own learning curve. And that's how we grow, by going through the muck. Not, next, not going to do that one, sometimes we have to actually experience life, head on. And then we get to draw back and go, wow. Now, the people that don't do the, oh my, wow, and really process it are often the people that end up in negative patterns.
Right.
So if you take a look at your life and see what continues to show up as, sort of the same scenario you're dealing with, rather than say, oh, I hate men, or, those customers are never right, whatever it is. It's better to really be vulnerable and open enough and just tell yourself, this is a growing pain. And thank God I'm aware. I've stepped back, I've taken stock, and when we take stock of our lives, really take stock. I mean, how were you raised? Our parents are our primary teachers. How did they communicate? How did they problem solve? So, and as you kind of alluded to before, Marie, is what am I willing to do?
Right.
How can I lend a resolve? The conflict is the conflict. So it's not all you, it's not all me. It's what are we creating together? What type of rapport? And make that almost like an entity. And if that rapport, that relationship is stressed out, then maybe we need to soothe it. Maybe we need to have a clarity, understanding, calm it down, and move to solution focus. So my gift is, again, I help so many people. I've written well over 400 letters for clients over the years for any type of situation. There was one woman once who had talked her brother into making a large business investment. It was like $100,000.
Wow.
And he lost all his money. And her, she was somehow associated with the business entity of investing, and the whole thing went sideways. And she assumed her brother was assumed, right? We know what that means. She assumed that her brother was very, very angry with her. And so they shut their communication down altogether. And she didn't reach out to him. And, he was, affected severely by this huge financial loss. So he wasn't exactly reaching out to her either, and perhaps because he was afraid of what he might say. So she contacted me to help her to write a letter. Letters are not tossed away. I'm not talking about business letters and ads. I'm talking about letters from that higher heart, letters of personal letters, and also business letters, as long as you have the elements of respect, appreciation. Okay, then it's and what you're willing to do to help problem solve, or even if there is a gross misunderstanding, how can we clear this up? Let me consider your point of view, and perhaps you can consider mine, and we can come somewhere in the middle. So anyway, I did write the letter, the Inspired Heart letter, to her brother, and she wrote me a beautiful testimonial because they fully healed all of that.
Mm-hmm. And it's so good to clear out that negative emotions in your life. I have some folks that I have accountability partnerships, and one of the things that we do is we're each other's emotional support, and we help with each other and get rid of the emotional garbage, not necessarily trying to dump it onto each other, but to clear the air so that we have somebody to vent with safely. And oh my gosh, it makes such a huge difference on whoever's working with me on that. So yeah, and it's nothing that I charge for. It's all more just a friendship kind of thing. And it works out beautifully in that respect. So that was beautifully said. And before we get into the next, and actually do have some questions for you, and I don't know if we'll get to all of them. We may have to have you back, but long story short, I do have the one other question to ask the audience before we go into our next set of questions for our speaker. But the next question is, which one of these voice tips did Pliny share in a recent episode of our show? It's called the 3 Steps to Success. It was on our top tips section. And I think it was even last week's show. So you can even go take a look there. But the questions I have for the multiple choice are, is it 1, take a deep breath? 2, start saying the first 3 words. 3, rehearse it. 4, then start when you're ready. Or 5, all of the above. Please let us know in the chat and let us know if you're watching it live or on the replay. And we will pick 2 lucky winners to have some wonderful prizes for some time with us on calls. And Pliny's wonderful prize is a free voice assessment and discovery call. And you can do that at info@bettervoice.com. That's info@bettervoice.com. All of our prizes are worth at least $500 or more. So please make sure you do give us an answer, A, B, C, D, or E. And we'll look for it in the YouTube or Facebook page. So with that, we do have some more questions for our speaker. Thank you for letting me share that, because we're doing a little bit of something different tonight. See, today marks our 75th show. So I started at the 50th show. I started doing, with Cheryl Bernstein, my co-host back then, a game show. And we call it Who Wants to Be a Marketing Mindset Master? So related to our main topic, which is marketing. So I just thought I'd share that information with you so you can kind of keep caught up to speed. So anyway, so we're doing a little fun, something different and fun, and hoping to get our audience to participate in answering some of those questions. And literally, YouTube or our speaker will give all their answers, or any of the other platforms we're on. So I had to give you a little chance to get caught up on what we're doing, because this is not our normal show, by the way. This is a special show. So normally we do tips and stuff. Today we're doing something a little different. But the next question I have is, and hopefully I can remember which one. So what is it? We haven't really dove into any of our questions, so I'm going to try to dive into a couple here. What commonly holds people back from arriving at a solution when a perceived conflict is experienced? I don't think we've really touched on that one yet.
Okay, so let me repeat it back. What commonly holds someone back from what?
Arriving at a solution when a perceived conflict is being experienced. So let's say there's a conflict going on, and so my question is, what's holding them back from solving it? And because they're still dealing with the conflict. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So often what happens is we get a little myopic when we run into a conflict with someone. We don't always see the forest for the trees. Again, that word triggered comes up. I had one entrepreneur, and this guy is very successful, highly, highly successful. In fact, I was on one of his telesummits.
Awesome.
And he asked me on the telesummit, he said, Kristine, he's been helping people with creating their own JV connections and affiliates. And he's really into online entrepreneurial ways and means and teaching all of that. And he said, I am moving into public speaking. He says, I've done this for so long with the whole online. And he goes, I want to help people spread their message in public speaking. And so I was at an event and I mentioned that. And this woman came up to me, and her whole world is around public speaking. And she said something like, so don't quote me, but it was something like, you're out of your mind and I will bury you.
Ooh, wow.
It was very harsh.
Yeah.
And he, very, very successful guy, was so taken back by that. So he asked me on the show, like, why would she do that to me? And I don't understand. And da 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 da. And she's out to get me now. And he was getting a little paranoid. I said, look, take it as a compliment. She thinks you're a threat.
It's kind
It
of like
was a backhanded compliment.
Wow.
For her to have the nerve to go up to his face and try to intimidate him, which obviously it worked to a certain degree. But I said it was an absolute, because you're so successful, she feels threatened.
That's true.
And the other thing is, nobody controls your consumers, your clients. What you do and what you deliver and your services will have an impact. So the good news is she's going to work extra hard to make sure she maintains her status quo and delivers more, right, and better. And so he said, wow, he goes, he was so like hung up with, because that's not the way he rolls. He would never have the audacity to talk to someone else like that. So we're going to run into all kinds of personality types. And that's when I say, consider backstories, big pictures, and it's not always about you. It's about them and their own insecurities, because if that lady were totally confident and secure, she'd be like, oh God, have fun with it. Whatever.
I get that.
So competition can be healthy. But if we take it as, oh, it's demeaning, I feel threatened, oh my gosh, the sky's going to fall, I'm going to lose all my client base, then guess what? You're going to create that. You're manifesting. We manifest.
We don't always know it. For those people who may not be aware what manifesting means, could you give us a quick definition, just for clarity's sake? I mean, I understand it, but that doesn't mean everybody does. So that would be great.
Okay. So manifesting, and this is a theory, but a theory that has worked for me and for others. And there's tons of books on it. Okay. It's a mindset thing where we clear out all the shoulda, woulda, coulda, oh my gosh, the sky's falling ideation. And we get really centered into what is it I want, get very clear. Who am I? What would make me truly happy? And you can actually, some people use affirmations, positive statements. Other people will get into what they call feelingization. So you kind of like I'm already there, because we are energetic, emotional beings. Right. The emotion is an energy. So there's not just physical energy, there's emotional energy as well. And so if we get real clear on that, then we can actually create.
Right.
Yeah. And I'll give you one idea. I always wanted children, and I wasn't maintaining pregnancies when I was married.
I get that.
So I was so sad about it, because I was one of those people, when I was a little girl, I wouldn't go to sleep unless all my dolls had blankets on them. Okay, so
sounds like me. I just use animals like dogs or something, and as well as dolls. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Like,
So I decided, you know what? I'm tired of stressing out over, gee, I wonder if this is ever going to come true. I'll probably never be a mom. Oh my gosh, blah blah. And I said, that's not working for me. I feel really depressed and down about it. I am going to create this. So there happened to be this upscale furniture store that had a big sale. And I went over and I bought all their Italian baby furniture and put it in the house. My husband came home and he says, is there something that I don't know? And I said, no, I already told you we're going to be parents. So come, hell or high water, it's happening. And I'm already laying the nest. Do you know that 2 weeks later, I was married to a doctor.
Wow.
A doctor calls and he says, who lived 2 hours away, had 5 kids, married. We never discussed our personal issues. And he said, hey, and I happened to be at my husband's office. And he said, hey, I just got off the phone with this woman who's the best friend of the aunt of this girl who's pregnant in Utah and wants to adopt her baby out of state. Your face has appeared. What do you think?
Wow.
We have the most gorgeous, beautiful daughter, and now baby grandson who's turning 3 next month.
Oh, congrats.
And yeah, so that's a manifestation.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right.
In my belief.
Well, thank you for that clarification. Well, we have one more question, then you have an action step and an offer, and we got 3 minutes to share this in. So, and then I have to close out the show. So we're going to have to keep it short and sweet. But what tips can you share on how to write an email that gives you a positive outcome? I think that's a really important one before we close out the show.
Okay. So long-winded doesn't work.
No, short and sweet.
Short and sweet, and get a little creativity. I just did a man's this week, his online dating profile makeover. And he says he has ADHD, but I think he's hyper focused, and it was long and it was boring and it was dribbly. And I said, it was all about what you want in your partner and what that person has to be and how they have to show up. So I rewrote it in 5 seconds practically. And I said, I know women, I know what they want, whether they're super successful or whatever. First line, can I spoil you? That's an eye catcher. Okay. So this is what you want to do with your customers or your potential clients is give them something that's a wow factor, that's out of their, normal blah, blah, because, some people actually, it's nice to say, I think, hi, Harry or Sally or whatever, and you have that built into your online system. But some people think it's really contrived. So maybe play with that a little bit. The greeting, the opening line is very important. Then an intriguing notion. And you also have to play to your client base. So you don't want to, offer something that they probably are not going to be interested in, and then give them easy access to a gift or whatever it is.
Excellent. And that was a great answer. So you have you have something you want to share with a free offer for our audience today, and then how to connect with you as well. Could you share that with us real quick?
Absolutely.
We're ready to go to the commercial break, believe it or not. So
first of all, this is my very slim little book. This is Relationship, How to Write the Words You Really Want to Say. And this book is on Amazon, and it just went on Audible and all the audiobooks. Okay. So this I would highly recommend, because you'll learn so much. And there's a whole chapter in there dedicated to helping you to write your own inspired heart letters. Little wonderful, not little, fabulous tips on that. And also many stories that you'll relate to for other people and how they overcame their, rocks in the road regarding relationship challenge. What I'd like to gift everyone here today is with this. So get your pen out again.
Okay.
Or you're texting or whatever. I have an email page for my free ebook, and the ebook is called Magical Words for an Inspired Heart, and it's 5 keys to become a more conscious communicator. And that is free. It's a small ebook, and if you go to the www, the drill, inspiredheartletters.com. You can get that, download that. Also, I'm going to gift your audience today, Marie, with a free consult with me. And so I'm going to give up to 30 minutes. And this is not any kind of sales call. This is for you to share with me any concerns, and I will give you free, I'm very intuitive. So intuition and, from my background as a family therapist and educational psychologist, all that. So you'll get a free consult. Go to KristineGrant.com. Mm-hmm. Kristine is with a K.
Okay, good.
Why my parents did that, I don't know. And then one last one.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So I believe in filling your bucket list. Mm-hmm. And what I did when everybody else was all, tearing their hair out over the COVID situation, the lockdown and all that.
We really can't get too much detail on that. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I did a bucket list. I created an album. I'm a word person. It has 10 songs that I wrote, composed, and sing with amazing musicians. And if you go to Tina Rose, that's my stage name, TinaRoseMusic.com, you can download a free song and have access to platforms. It's called Love Letters, by Tina Rose.
That is brilliant. Thank you. And I've heard some of your music. It's so pretty. So
thank you.
Yeah. So thank you for that gift. So, oh my gosh, so many things to share. I'm not going to be able to repeat them all. So you're going to have to listen to the replay for that one, because we actually have to end the show. We're a little bit running behind schedule, but thank you, Kristine Grant, for sharing so many valuable tips to help our audience grow themselves and their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery radio show. And our topic was on resolving business relationship conflicts, which is ultra important in this day and age. And it's a timeless thing, actually. And I want to encourage you to go and take advantage of all of her free gifts, including going to www.KristineGrant.com. Go to her website, download the free gifts, and I think your link to your calendar should be also on there as well.
Yes.
Okay, good. So that will solve that issue for me repeating it too much. So you can also go and grab it later as far as the show is, after the show, and then we hope to see you guys taking advantage of that free offer. So we're going to have more amazing guests next week, and they will share us more gifts. Make sure you go to our radio shop. It's a Liberty Virtual Solutions /shop. Go grab yourself a backpack. Every backpack sold will get a $5 gift card to one of the lucky teachers in our area, and we can do that US wide. They will be able to give that kids their supplies. So with that, we are going to have to actually close out the show, believe it or not. So we stream live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here at W4CY.com. And until next time, this is Marie Mason and my guest, Kristine Grant, saying goodbye for now on the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. And that ends this week's show now.
Go to our radio page and check out the gifts from our speakers. We'll see you next time on Marketing Mindset Mastery with your host, Marie Mason.